Hello, everyone. I'm your council board member for District 11, Miami Dade County, Christian Mancera, and today we have a special podcast, a special event with our own Sargento Poveda from Miami Dade Police Department. Today we're going to be talking about some of the concerns that most of you have raised regarding traffic, the best practices on how to drive here in Miami Dade County. So, Sergeant, welcome. Thank you so much for the opportunity
Thank you
and
so much
for
for having us.
talking to our district and our county about traffic issues that arise daily in Miami-Dade County. And I wanted to ask you a few questions regarding how to drive well here in our county.
Sure.
So let me ask you a question. What is the best practice when people are driving on the left lane? People are confused whether this is a fast lane, this is a lane to be used to pass. What is the proper way to use the left lane on a highway or in a, normal
On normal roadway.
road, correct?
On the roadway, it's really whether it's a 3 or 2 lane highway, your best bet is to just drive safely. Obviously, don't drive while texting. That's our main concern nowadays. When we're on the highways, obviously, the left lane is supposed to be used for someone who's traveling at a faster rate of speed. Not necessarily speeding, but just going faster than the normal flow of traffic. And this is to create people that are going longer distances, allow them to reach their destinations safely and more expeditiously. Unfortunately, with the number of people living in Dade County now, we do have or encounter a large number of people using the left lane to just go 1-2 miles chilling, and unfortunately it ties up the traffic.
Correct. Yeah.
So our main goal is to educate the public and let them know that left lane, at least on the expressways, allow people to just use them if they're going on a long trek. Usually the other lanes are used for any type of driving, but we do our best when it comes to teaching the public and enforcing those laws and letting them know what's going on.
Understood. I have seen recently, actually, when I'm actually myself driving, like big trucks driving on the left lane. What is the regulation regarding that, and why is it that some of these truckers, like they're driving on the left lane, and they do cause a lot of traffic, especially on, on the Dolphin Expressway. So, what is the best advice that you could give to these drivers on not to use that left lane?
It is hard for just a civilian to tell someone, because our main goal is to try to avoid some sort of confrontation from taking place.
Correct.
But what we do as law enforcement officers is we do pull them over the 99% of the time. If they're not changing lanes, we do stop them and we cite them. There is a citation for that. And we basically tell them not to use the left lane unless they're about to take some sort of maneuver to avoid an accident, or they need to pull to the side of the road. But really, for trucks, 18-wheelers, they know that they have to use the other lanes as they go on their daily duties.
I understand. I know your department has been working a lot to stop, especially like car racing and like in small neighborhoods or like in districts like District 11. Now, is this continue to happen, or has this been prevented?
It has slowed down. It hasn't been prevented per se, because I know it still happens.
Correct.
But the numbers have gone down.
Mm-hmm.
We have been aggressive of enforcing the laws when it comes down to people drag racing or going out on the streets and doing donuts, which is what we call them.
Exactly.
And they do the street takeovers. The numbers have lower on that. We have made several arrests. We issued a number of citations to many individuals, and they're still going through the court system, but we feel confident that we are making a difference, we're making a change, and things are looking brighter when it comes to that.
Understood. One of the issues that people raise also is that when people they're on a traffic light and they're on a traffic stop, and they're going to turn right and they want to go immediately to the left lane, they wait there on a traffic stop and then they hold traffic, and then they immediately bounce from that right lane onto the left lane. What is the best practice regarding that specific issue, which most of the times irritates drivers who are behind this person
and they're waiting in
correct?
Traffic. Yeah, totally. I completely understand that, and I can see where the frustration from the public is. Usually what we tell people is just stay calm, try not to get into an argument with the person in front of you. There's only so many of us, but we do our best in trying to enforce that infraction. And when we do that, we have officers. We're out of the motorcycle unit.
Okay.
We are plainly and obviously seen out there on the road, and people know when we're out there. What we do, we hit major intersections, and we notice when people try to make a right turn, but they're not. They're actually taking the left lane to beat the traffic.
Correct.
And that is a citation for using the incorrect lane. and we do cite them accordingly.
Understood. In terms of using the signals, either to the left or to the right, is there like a special advice that you would give drivers? Usually, we see that drivers are either going on the right lane, they're about to enter like a shopping center or a gas station, and then they immediately turn. There's no signal, signaling they're going to be turning to the right, and then usually there's an accident or people have to stop, like, abruptly. So, is there a best practice that you would suggest in that case, and how to deal with that?
Sure. Best practice for any driver is to maintain a safe distance. Uh, we hope that everyone in the public will be using their traffic signals when changing lanes or making a turn, and that's what we suggest the public to do. Uh, Sometimes, unfortunately, that does not happen. So, in order to prevent an accident from taking place, we tell people keep a safe distance in case someone decides to suddenly stop and make a turn, whether it's left or right, and that will prevent you from getting into an accident. But if you are driving on the roads of Miami-Dade County, it is a state statute. We ask and tell people to please just, it's common courtesy and it's also common sense that you turn your light signal to let the other drivers know where you're going.
Well, there's a reason why the cars have these.
Correct. Otherwise, they wouldn't have them. Yes.
Correct. So let me ask another question, which I think is important. You guys do an amazing job on the roads.
Thank you.
Not only you guys, but the state troopers. Now, I have seen something that concerns me a lot, which is that when you guys are like pulling over someone, either to the left service lane or to the right service lane, people usually, like, they're not aware that you guys are there, and they don't go to the following lane to avoid going very close to you because it could hurt you guys or
Correct.
put you guys in danger. What's the violation in that case, and how do we tell our folks that when they see you guys on the street stopping someone and your lights are on, that you actually have to like move to the right or to the left so that you guys are not placed in danger?
Our department has made a campaign along with the Florida Department of Transportation and FHP, which is our Florida Highway Patrol, as the move over law. So there is a law in which we tell and advise drivers that they need to move over, whether it's a police officer or a fire rescue or even our expressway personnel that work the roads, to, if they see the lights, to just, again, common sense and courtesy, to pull to the side or the next lane over to avoid any impropriety from taking place, especially a traffic accident. And it will help us stay safe and the public stay safe as well. We also recommend that when there's an accident on the side of the road, people should use courtesy too and try to staying close to that accident, pulling over to one lane over.
There's another issue that I think you guys have seen is in terms of pedestrians. Like, people usually do not use the walkway; they usually use like the middle of the roads. And I have seen, like, especially here in Dade County, where some areas, I mean, they're residential areas, so they don't have the big light poles, so they can signal the road. Now, how do we deal with that, or tell our folks that there's a reason why we have a walkway for you guys to walk and not to walk in the middle of the street? Like, is there any type of advice in that case?
That is a great question, and I appreciate you brought that up. We actually take pride in taking part of an initiative by the Florida Department of Transportation as well, where we enforce traffic laws regarding cyclists and pedestrians. And our main concern is teaching the public how to properly use crossing a street, which really means is you have to go to each corner and cross the street. I guess you're Hispanic, I'm Hispanic, and I speak for the Hispanic community in our countries. We really just cross the street at any
Everywhere,
given point,
correct.
whether there's cars or no cars. But in order for you to be safe and not get run over or get into an accident, we're encouraging the public and teaching them to please use sidewalks or the corner so that you're definitely visible to the driving public.
Correct.
Especially nowadays where most people are unfortunately on their cellular devices.
Correct.
They're not looking at a person crossing the road. And that's what we've been doing for the last 2 to 3 years. We've been actively enforcing and teaching the public that they need to cross at the crosswalk.
You touch base on something which I think is also very important, and many concerns have been raised regarding cyclists, that they are not using, they're going the wrong way where they should not be going. And I think this is also part of that, mentality that comes that, hey, I'll use my bike anywhere and it's okay. What is the best practice in that particular case where cyclists are using their bicycles like wherever, and that also causes risks not only for them but for the drivers?
Per state law, cyclists, they need to maintain themselves within the side of the lane, the traveling lane in which they're going to, but they need to go with the flow of traffic. and like you mentioned, not against traffic. That causes a confusion with drivers, and sometimes it does cause an accident to take place. We are also heavily involved in um, addressing the public when it
Hmm.
comes to cyclists. We've given plenty of citations before, unfortunately, to a cyclist, but we're trying to teach the public that they need, it's for their safety. It's not because we want to give somebody a ticket, but we also want to just increase or having them acknowledge that there is an issue for them using their bicycle improperly, and we just want them to follow the laws.
Understood. And one last thing, which I think is important to raise, the governor of the state has raised this also. The installation of cameras where there are school zones. We have noticed that people forget that these are school areas. And what is your advice for drivers that are actually driving through a school zone? That mean, what is the best practice so that they do not drive there like they're like going crazy?
Okay, when it comes down to school zones, we actually tell the public to please drive at the speed limit that is required. We know that it is at 15 miles per hour. Every school zone in Dade County has a schedule where school zones are working, and most of them have lights that will tell you that school zones are in effect. At the same time, uh, we're also working with a private company where they're doing a bus patrol program, and where this company actually has cameras on every school bus
Hmm.
in Dade County, and that is basically recording as soon as their stop arms go out. And this is for the safety of the children. Our main concern here is just safety. We want children to make it home safe, and whether they're going to school or they're going back home. And we do and have encountered many instances where cars just basically blow by the school
Correct.
bus, and they're getting cited for those infractions.
I understand, officer. Thank you for those responses. But I think there's something very important to address, which is that we have had issues with people that, run into accidents. They have a crash and then they just leave. So, what are the consequences for people who do not stay? And usually, people who run are the ones that don't have insurance. So
It's unfortunate, yeah.
those are issues that we have in our community. So, why is it important to have a car insurance, and why is it important to stay when there's an accident?
Well, I'll go back to your first part. It is important to have insurance because number one, it is required,
Correct.
it's state law, and actually will help you cover any expenses that you may have, whether you're involved in an accident or not. And what we try to tell people and educate the public with, and we actually do this through our Public Information Bureau, we send out plenty of brochures and videos out there for the public to know that they need, if they're involved in an accident, please call nine. The first thing you should do is call 911
Correct.
and tell the dispatcher you're involved in a car accident, and wait for the police to arrive. Many people sometimes feel like it's just a minor fender bender. I'm going to leave and take off. But many people leave not knowing that the other person involved might have been injured,
Correct.
or there's plenty of damage that you're not aware of, and they just basically take off. And that unfortunately becomes a criminal traffic citation. So if that person leaves the scene of an accident and, God forbid, there's injuries involved, this person is going to have a higher charge when it
Mhm.
comes down to going into court. So we basically tell the public, and it's just basically a matter of informing and educating, to please remain on scene, wait till the officer arrives. The officer will determine if everybody's okay, things can be taken care of without any issues. And really, if they're willing to wait and have the patience, things will take care of themselves more easier than just leaving the scene.
Aside from the fact that if they leave the scene, then that has criminal consequences.
Correct. And
Correct.
unfortunately, they're going to have more issues later on. It's just best to stay on, wait, get a police report, and get everything solved easier that way.
In terms of driving under the influence of any substance, do you find that this is something that has been on like decline, or do you think this is still on the rise, that people are not responsible enough to understand that they should not be driving under the influence?
Well, we hope that the numbers go down. I believe that they have maintained over the years, but unfortunately, it keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
We do fight this aggressively. We have a DUI enforcement unit
Correct.
that works tirelessly throughout the county, and they do make plenty of arrests, which is surprising nowadays when we have the options of Uber or
Correct.
any other service where people can pick you up. People unfortunately still drive under the influence, sometimes causing deadly results. As we just saw recently, there was an accident where a gentleman struck someone and unfortunately they passed,
Oh,
and this
wow.
person was under the influence. So
Unfortunately.
we keep on giving, just messages out to the public. Please don't drink and drive. Call someone or have someone drive for you that's not drinking.
Mhm.
And obviously, we hope that that's making a change, but we're still having incidents where people drive under the
Thank you,
influence.
Sergeant. I appreciate your time. What will be final words of advice for people who are watching, not only in District 11 but in Miami-Dade County, about the job that you guys do, and like final recommendations that you may have?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us on your program, and we appreciate it. And we're glad to be of service to the public. And what we want to do is just tell the public, please drive carefully, use common sense. Do not be on your phones, which is our main concern, especially for us on motorcycles. We see it when people are on their phones and they're not paying attention to traffic laws or literally the car in front of them. And our goal is for you to make it home safe and that your family knows that you're going to get home safe as well.
Well, thank you, Sergeant Poveda. I appreciate it a lot, not only to you but to the department. All
Thank
the
you.
job that you guys do, we're very appreciative of that. And to all of you guys in District 11 in Miami-Dade County, this is another podcast trying to bring pedagogical tools for you guys to understand the best practices on how to drive. Today we had a huge expert on this topic. And of course, our Miami-Dade County Police Department are always on target and on top. So thank you,
Thank
officer.
you
I
so
appreciate
much.
it. God
Appreciate
bless
you.
you. Thank you for your service. See you guys.